Yes, it is a big deal. Impact SE wrote a report on the UAE curriculum, and we found that it closely meets international standards of peace and tolerance, teaching about peacemaking, religious tolerance, and acceptance of the other. It was not at that time teaching about the Holocaust. We have, since our report was produced, were invited to work closely with the United Arab Emirates Ministry of Education. And, that was a process of working on standards, working on what is called benchmarks, but also being able to talk about other elements which might be included in the curriculum. And we created material about the Holocaust, which we hope is very useful for the Ministry of the Education of the United Arab Emirates. And we hope to see it in future iterations of their curriculum.
And I guess because you just mentioned that you helped build the curriculum for the UAE, what other elements of the curriculum were in there that needed updating to be more modern and more in accordance with these international standards?
Well, absolutely. Well, that's a matter of helping to build the curriculum. The UAE curriculum is really of an extremely high standard. It is the kind of a standard which countries in the region should absolutely emulate. When we were invited to talk to them, we were surprised that they turned around and said, how can we do better? We thought that was just, fantastic. And it goes to the levels of commitment and professionalism of the Ministry of Education in the UAE. And so, we do not build other countries' curricula. That is for them to do. Each country builds its own curricula. What we can do is be helpful in identifying benchmarks or standards of peace and tolerance, and being able to be there to consult on how practically to attain those standards in certain subjects and areas of the curriculum. It is the country itself, clearly, which builds its own curriculum. And in the UAE, you have a country which is utterly committed to that, which has the professional capabilities of doing that. And all I can say is I do hope and believe that the material that we created on the Holocaust would be useful for the UAE. You're absolutely right in saying what a tough subject this is to engage in the Muslim world generally. It is bizarre, frankly, that this terrible, awful tragedy, this industrial destruction of European Jewry, the Holocaust, is seen as, frankly, Zionist propaganda all over the Muslim world. Frankly, not just in the Muslim world, in certain cohorts in Europe and in the United States as well. The UAE is bucking that trend. They are trailblazers in so many ways, and this is another way in which they are blazing that new trail.
It's an interesting question going forward, whether or not just because the country teaches it, do the people actually accept the teaching? Or do they do, much as you mentioned, there are places in Europe and the rest of the world where, despite it being on the curriculum, well, people still hold the same biases. And that's going to be the million-dollar question moving forward. Thank you very much for joining us, Marcos.